The Times-Tribune Company can trace its roots back to January 1st, 1856, when it was known as the Altoona Tribune and published its first paper. E.B. McCrum and William Allison started the Altoona Tribune after purchasing the equipment of Altoona's first newspaper, known as the Altoona Register. The Altoona Tribune occupied its own three-story brick building on 12th Street between 11th and 12th Avenues. The Tribune maintained a wide circulation, 42,000 in 1899, and appeared each morning. Its political stance was independent Republican, and it described itself as progressive. On July 19, 1875, Dr. Hugh Pitcairn of Harrisburg came into possession of the other half interest. The partnership continued until Mr. Dern's death in 1905. At that time, the company was reorganized as the Altoona Tribune, with Dr. Pitcairn as president, Henry C. Dern as treasurer, and Alonzo D. Houck as general manager. Colonel Henry W. Shoemaker purchased the Tribune and became president and published his first paper on November 12, 1912. He merged the Tribune with two other papers, the Altoona Gazette and the Altoona Times. Colonel Shoemaker wrote a weekly column in which he covered regional folklore and history and called for conservation and neighborhood beautification efforts. Mr. Houck was retained as general manager and became first vice president upon the retirement of Enos M. Jones in 1916. On January 1, 1920, the Altoona Times merged with the Altoona Tribune into a single morning daily newspaper, Times-Tribune, with Colonel Shoemaker continuing as president, with Bert Leopold as vice president. A.D. Houck became vice president and general manager of the Job printing plant, with M.W. Whitaker as general manager of the newspaper. Colonel Shoemaker purchased the Times interest in January 1921, but the newspaper had been called Times-Tribune since January 1920. First directors of the organization, headed by Colonel Shoemaker, were Enos M. Jones, John D. Meyer, J.C. Quiggle, J.H. Chatham, Joseph Arbuckle, and William F. Gable. Theodore Arter Jr. became assistant to A.D. Houck in 1923 and assumed the vice presidency when Houck resigned. Subsequently, he became editor. Arthur B. Crane had been general manager for several years. Joseph A. Fowle was secretary-treasurer. Robert Keyes was advertising manager. Robert W. Boyer was managing editor. Boyer painted a word picture of the life at the Times-Tribune. I suppose, to be totally candid, it was a bit of a ramshackle proposition, he said. The building was built in 1850, and most of the linotype machines were second-hand. The Goss press was also second-hand, and the typewriters were all old. Each evening, managing editor Boyer would hand out staff assignments, make up page 1 and the editorial page, and write an editorial. We had fun, he said. The Times-Tribune ceased publication on December 31st, 1957. They ceased operations after 102 years of continuous publication and service to the community.